Welcome, everybody, to Built on Behavior. I am your host, Brooke Trometer, and today we have with us Christopher Trocola. So, Christopher has built AI systems, influenced legislation, and protected over $500 million in regulated contracts. But what I'm most interested in is his behavioral lenses he brings to AI governance. This idea that you can tell in 60 seconds whether someone has actually lived the work or just performing expertise. So, this isn't just about AI, it's about behavior under pressure. So, for people who don't know you, who are you and what do you do? Kind of elaborate on that I just introduced there.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for having me. It's always fun to talk to you. So I'm Christopher Trocola. I'm CEO and founder of ACT. It is an executive risk management firm exclusively for AI. We work with a lot of consultants, middle-sized and enterprise businesses on implementation, safe implementation. We used to say governance, but that became kind of a buzzword for the entire world where everybody's like, just buy my stuff again. And that's AI safety. We focus on safety. We focus on your safety. My job is to make sure AI doesn't eat people.
And doesn't eat people. All right. So, I guess let's move because that's such an interesting place to be right now. So, I want to kind of see how we got there because this is such a new frontier that people are diving into. I love the idea of like your 60-second situation that you have there because there's so many people in this industry that claim to be experts and then they just say stupid crap, you know? And I have thoughts on that.
Me too.
No, not you, not me
No,
having
no, no,
thoughts on
no. I'm
things.
I'm an angel. I don't ever think bad thoughts or angry thoughts.
Okay. So let's take this back then to a young Christopher. And where did you start? Like tell me what was young Christopher like? Where did you begin? How did you grow up? Where are you from? Like what was that life like?
So I grew up in Tucson, Arizona. Very sickly child. I actually missed most of my high school career being in the hospital. I had valley fever on my lymph nodes, and had to remove half my right lung, and they thought I was going to die. That was a whole situation. So I ended up going to a charter school instead. A fun fact: the day after my surgery, when they removed half my right lung, I woke up and I looked at my mom and I said, "I have regional choir auditions today, and I want to go." And she said, "You're crazy." And the doctor came in. She said, "Don't bring it up." And I told the doctor, "I have regional choir auditions today and I want to go." And he ended up agreeing. And the reason why he agreed. He said a lot of times, he said, "We don't know what's wrong with him and he may not make it after what we found so far. And if he lays in bed and he lets the fluid collect, he'll probably die. We see that most often. So letting him walk around is going to be good." Now, I remember him coming to the bed. He said, "I'm going to let you go do this thing. But do me a favor, take a deep breath." And I went, he said, "Stop. That's as big as you can get right now."
No.
Okay. And I had to go hold notes for 20, 30 seconds because it's a regional choir audition. And I did it. I did it.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
yeah. Yeah. So that kind of gives you a definition of I'm just going to get stuff done. That's the type of guy I am. I've had a fun life. Graduated high school early, enlisted in the Marine Corps, and then I traveled across the country and went to Mississippi. And that's when I decided that I was going to jump into going door to door selling vacuum cleaners. So I've had a very consistent life. We'll say that.
No idea you were in choir. I'm sorry. That kind of just like grabbed me for a minute.
I've been in choir since I was in kindergarten. That was my first choir experience. I got to sing with the U of A choir when I was a junior in high school. We had 3 albums that through my choir career that we recorded.
So I'm blown away. So just so that like the listeners know why I'm kind of shocked by this is that you and I met last year and we have had regular conversations back
Yeah.
and have really kind of like grown this friendship over the last year. And I had no idea about this.
Yeah,
So
I told you from the beginning that I am a conundrum wrapped inside of an enigma. That was the medical diagnosis that my doctor has in my chart. He's the one who saved my life. He's the one who figured out that I had the valley fever on my lymph nodes. So I've known this guy for 26 years.
wow.
Yeah, yeah, we have a good relationship.
Well, that is amazing. No, that's really cool though, because so like my first, I'll say my first life, half of my life. So I was a music teacher for 20 years. And I taught classical piano, guitar, and voice for all of that time. I had my own band and performed around at all the different fairs and festivals and all of that kind of stuff.
I play guitar.
Yeah, so I did all of that stuff too. That was like, music
So
was
we can jam out when I go to Florida.
yes, absolutely. Just like jam, rock it out.
I haven't got to jam out forever. My son's learning. My 13-year-old, he's learning how to play guitar right now.
Oh, that's
I can't
awesome.
teach him. There's no
No?
freaking. I'm not.
Yeah,
No, I can't teach him. But he's learning in school, and then once he learns the basics, then we can learn songs together. But yeah,
that'll be
he's
fun.
getting good.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. Sometimes it's hard to teach your own kids though. Like,
It's hard for me to teach most people.
yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those things I think like my husband, I had to get him one time because he was teaching me how to I'd always like gone hunting and had done, things like that even before I knew him, but I hadn't dealt with handguns in the past. But so he was teaching me how to break it down to like clean it and everything, the pistol. And I thought that might lead to our divorce. No, just kidding. He was trying to teach me and he just kept like doing it and just like telling me and I'm like, "Stop it." I'm like, "I have to do it myself." I'm like, "If you touch this thing one more time."
I'm gonna shoot you with it.
Exactly, right? I felt he did sit there and he was like, "Okay." I'm like, "I am a tactile person. I have to do this to learn it. Or you can show me 100 times and I'm still not gonna be able to like learn this, right?" So he finally backed off and was just like talking me through it. But that poor man, I thought I was gonna have to sit there and put like concrete boots on him and like glue his hands because I could just see him like trying to like keep himself physically from like reaching down there to do this stuff.
Your husband's a saint. I know stories. That man is awesome. He is my hero.
Yes, he is. He's wonderful. I love him. So, okay. So you said then that after you went to Mississippi, you went to door-to-door sales,
Did
right?
that for a very long time. Got really good at Kirby. Did that for like 4 years. Got a whole bunch of
Vacuum?
awards. Kirby vacuums. I
Okay.
still have Kirby.
Do
Love
you
that thing.
really?
Yeah. Never sell something that you wouldn't own yourself. Like you have to believe in your product.
Yeah.
So I remember that was one of the first things I bought was my Kirby. And then I went into solar and alarms in 2012. 2016, I opened up my first solar company, scaled that to 27 territories. And then during the great toilet paper shortage of 2020, I decided that I was going to exit that and move into compliance.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say exit that and start selling toilet paper.
Start, yeah, I should have. I mean, we wouldn't be on this. I wouldn't be worried about AI. I'd be on my own island right now, just kicking back, made of toilet paper. Like I'd be fine at this point. Yeah. No, I moved into compliance. At that time, solar was really unregulated. I didn't realize what was going on. I took my 15-year-old daughter with me out door knocking back when we were just barely allowed to start door knocking again because she wanted to start saving for a car. I'm like, yeah, you just knock doors. I will sell the systems. You'll make the money and we'll buy you a great car. She hated it. But I'm like, okay, just go in the house. And all you have to do is read off of this tablet and you're going to be able to sell a system and make like $4,000 and then trigger right there and there. I'm like, I've been hiring people like this for like 6 years. And now people are doing this thing virtually for the last like 6 months. And they have no idea how TEP works or SRP or Encore or Unisor and like all these utility company rules and state rules. And sure enough, a couple months later, they were breaking all the laws. So I started building out sales licensure platform, did some partnerships with fintechs, started building out some AI system for the fintechs. And before agent was a word, they didn't really know we were using AI. I had to figure out how to make our stuff SOC 2 compliant, which was not easy when it comes to AI, and a way that is approached a lot nowadays still isn't right. But I had to do that. So it gave me some really, really cool insights when I decided to leave the industry in late 2024. That's when I did the laws. I got a partner. I got to do some collaborative work with NREL and with the Department of Energy. Had some conversations with the Federal Trade Commission, helped influence like 10 laws on consumer protections and predatory lending practices. And then because I'd been developing these systems for the time that I had, when I exited the industry, it was just natural progression to go into it. So I started working with companies and finance and investors on looking for, advisory for them and then consulting businesses. And over the last year, we really started developing frameworks and standards. And I got together a whole bunch of really, really smart, intelligent people who understand this stuff. And we worked together. We got some really cool folks that we worked with at previous laboratories who are coming in. They're running our research department for us. So we're developing a lot of white paper cases, case studies, test studies on what works, what doesn't work, bringing a lot of fragmented research out there and just making sure it's all uniformed and understood. We've been working really hard on making sure that we get a grip on this thing.
That's great. So, one thing that I'm kind of seeing as we're talking though is that like you keep finding, at least the thread that I'm seeing here is that like as as you've done one thing to the other, you kind of pick like you find like a trend, you find like a piece that like is needed, or this little thread that you just kind of pull on, and then you're like, ah, there it is, and that just like pulls you right into the next thing. As disconnected as some of these things can seem, like door to door sales, and then over here to like AI compliance and, all of these things like that you're doing, it seems like two totally different worlds, but yet you kind of like naturally progressed from one right into the other, you know? Like what about all of that? Like what do you think? Like, did you grow? Is that just like a natural thing with you that you just kind of like get into things and then you're kind of like, oh hey, I just see this and I just see the next natural step? Or was that something that you think like was taught to you early on? How did you do that? Like how did that become a thing that you do? Because I see that in like all these things that you do. You're just kind of like that's a
It's pattern
trait.
recognition, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm really good at that. I love it. I've loved it since I was a kid. That's why music was always so fun for me.
Mhm.
It was one of those things that I'm extremely dyslexic. I didn't learn how to read until later in school, and it was only because I went into choir and I had
Mm.
to sight read the music and
Mhm.
read the words at the same time. That's how I learned how to read was
Uh,
music. But my mom had always noticed that early on I had she didn't know if it was photographic or eidetic memory. So she used to like test us all the time. She's like, memorize that license plate. She'd write it down and then come back like a week later and ask me what
mhm.
the license was. And then she would add like the car and the color, how many people were in the car and stuff like that. And it started helping me recognize patterns very, very early on. Got me into chess. My brother, he was third place state chess champion. I was second place state chess champion when I was in second grade. So it's just a lot of that, pattern recognition. When you look at these things, I saw it in the solar industry when I was having conversations with the Federal Trade Commission and with NREL and Department of Energy. And we were talking about these things. I said, why are you so worried about this stuff? I said, because we're the solar industries, it's a very niche path, but it's a niche path that's going to mimic 2008. We have 60% dealer fees and commissions. We're looking at tranche paper that has no viability behind it. It's a non-fixture collateral, which means you can't resell the solar. But if the solar loan goes bad, there's nothing to recoup except for the 30% tax credit that is backed by the government. So the paper is really not worth anything except for what the government says it's worth at that time, which is really, really bad. And then we have a lot of these other deals that are happening. And once you get into that, you kind of get addicted to the patterns, right? And I've said it before. Compliance people, the best compliance people, have walked a gray line in their life and are really really good at walking that line. And no, that is like I could do that if I do this. Ooh, somebody else could do that. If somebody else can do that, then that means that they can do this, and that would affect these things. And then you see a domino effect, and that's when you start preparing for those type of scenarios, and you have an understanding, and you can really look at the fact that not everybody has the best intentions. And if you think it, somebody else is thinking it, and somebody else is willing to act on that, even though you're not, then you can start making preparations for yourself,
I
and then
see.
eventually how to protect others.
So is that where you also got that thing you say like in 60 seconds you can kind of like tell if somebody's actually done it or not is all from that same pattern recognition?
Yeah, it's format. It's M dashes is the biggest one. If you start, when was a before ChatGPT? When did you ever see an M dash, short or long? When did you ever see one?
No, see, that's the thing that gets me. And I'm with you on that 100% because I get so irritated when I watch people. I've seen them with their reels and they'll talk about it, or they'll write something on social media and they'll be like, oh, well, they just swear it was written with AI because it had the M dash. That's the only reason they could say it was because it had the M dash. And I was writing with M dashes way before AI ever came about. And I'm sitting
Prove
there
it.
and like, okay, look, here's the deal. Yeah, I want to see first. I want to see those papers. I go and scroll back on your social media to 2015. You mean to tell me I'm going to see M dashes in what you're writing? I highly doubt it because here's the thing. M dash, the way that AI actually uses it, I don't even know where the freaking thing is on the keyboard. Like, I mean, I can put the little tiny dash, like I know the little one, like that
But
little bitty.
hyphens aren't even properly used by people.
No. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, but I can put a hyphen in there if I wanted it to like mimic an M dash or like use it in place of that. But I'm looking at my keyboard right now. I don't even see it. Like it's there. A big long line over top of my hyphen. If I go to that, that makes an underline thing, like, at the bottom. It is not on here. So for somebody to say that they were using it way before AI ever brought it in,
Just
they
admit that you're using it.
crap.
Look, AI is an amazing tool, and if you're using it in a copy paste manner, you're gonna see. So there was reports that were done. I think it was Harvard. It's on our research page. So if I'm wrong, it's because
Mhm,
I have a lot of stats in my head right now. But I think it was Harvard. It was criticized because it wasn't peer reviewed, but they were able to show that people who used ChatGPT opposed to doing the paper themselves had showed 85% decrease in cognitive ability. What I've noticed on social media recently is just an influx of ChatGPT's thought leadership. And
mhm,
it's just this regurgitated, just constant. And that's fine. If you need it for quick short posts, if you're using tools to be able to get it out there, that's absolutely fine. I'm
mhm,
probably not going to read it. The second I see that M dash, I'm going to walk away. There's sometimes when I use it for some of these things because I have other companies that I hire to do these things and it's in there. But I'm going to ask follow-up questions. I'm
yeah,
going to ask you, how did you come to that conclusion? Why do you think this way? And if I see a copy pasted response from ChatGPT, I'm going to ignore you moving forward because if I wanted to talk to ChatGPT, I'm going to talk to ChatGPT.
yeah, exactly. No, I agree. I've noticed like there's a good way to use things like ChatGPT and I think like a not so great way because like you can use sometimes when I'm in a hurry, because I mean like me in general, running the business, doing all of the things I'm doing over here. I homeschool my kids. I'm doing the stuff out here on the land with the animals. I'm doing all these different things. And sometimes like I get ideas going in my head. I'm like, okay, I want to just like I need to word vomit everything,
Mhm.
onto stuff. And I will take and I will word vomit whatever I'm saying. And then I'm like, okay, I know what I'm saying, but I can't seem to like outline it right to make it make sense to somebody else, right? So I've had it where I've asked ChatGPT, like, okay, hey, this is what I'm saying. Now make that sound like a sane person.
Yeah. The amount of times I have that specific sentence inside of my chats. Yeah.
And they'll go through and they'll be like, oh, that's, and like write it all out. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's what I was
And
saying.
then make it make sense to normal people.
Yes, and make it
Right?
make sense to normal people. Yeah. So I mean, like that kind of thing I don't mind. And like I'll take some of that then. Okay, yeah, that is exactly what I was trying to say. And then I'll take that and then I'll rewrite it into my own words.
Yeah.
Kind of like, hey, yes, this is what I'm trying to say. Now I'll go ahead and rewrite this in my own words now that I see it in like a normal person
Yeah.
verb, you know? And then I do that. But one thing that I found interesting was when I have seen like I'm in a hurry and I just want to get something out on social media for whatever reason, and I do a copy paste. Now I typically will say take out whatever M dash is because I know that's an immediate tell anyway. But
There's other things in there besides the that's that you can do this
there is. That's
formatting.
what I was going to get to. No, this is my next.
It's yeah,
Yeah.
there's the abrupt sentences.
Yes.
That goes back to marketing and sales. When
Yep.
you want to make a point, you have inflections exactly where you need them, right?
Mhm.
And that's something that AI is really, really good at consistently doing, which will show you the format. There's also things that just don't have depth. That turns into a circular argument that the word is defining the definition. If the
Yes.
definition is defining the word, right? It's in there. It's like, yeah, a catastrophe is a catastrophe. Thanks.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Exactly.
conversations I have with my 3-year-old when I don't understand something. Dad, what is that? It's that. Okay, Dad.
Exactly. Well, and that's where I was going. Like the thing, like I've noticed when I do a quick copy and paste over there versus when I'm actually writing the post myself. I think there is something, whether we realize it or not, in the human mind that is picking up on lots of these little things like this because posts that I make that I write myself get about 10 times the amount of engagement that a post that I copy and pasted from ChatGPT gets.
Mhm.
And I see it almost consistently. It's right there.
I'm
Almost.
noticing it. I don't know if it's algorithm or if it's legitimately people just saying, I'm not going to read AI garbage.
Mhm. I would be
I really don't know yet. It's probably a good research. I should probably get Alex on that. She'd probably
Yeah,
like to do that.
well, I would almost wonder if it was actually an algorithm though, because like ones like Facebook and stuff like that, they're pulling in so much that meta AI. They're like bringing the AI into the social media so much.
Well,
So
then
I'd
you
find.
have a lot of very similar stuff, and then it doesn't want to hit. So that's definitely one reason I have heard that from a lot of marketers. That AI
Mhm.
generated content has kind of been downgraded a little bit when it hits the algorithm.
Mhm.
That's why blog posts they don't rank anymore. I don't know if you've noticed that or if you've heard about that
Yep.
because everybody's just got a blog now. We've all had blogs for a long time, but it's the style of the blog. Like if you go to research that I did, I've been waiting for somebody to call me out on it, and nobody's done it yet. All the research papers that I have on there, I've had it repeated, because we wrote it in HTML. Usually the way that I do it is I have my research, I have it all documented, have everything done. I upload it into Claude. I use Claude, and I tell Claude, put this in an HTML so our graphs and formats are in there. It's just a quicker, easier way for me to get it up when we were first standing up the site, right?
Mhm.
Now we have everything we need that we're not going to have any of the M dashes in there. And I was like, move on. Nah, leave it in there. I want to see if anybody calls it out. But if you look at the original documentation and all the actual research, and we have all the sites in there, it's all written by me, right?
Mhm.
I wrote a book called AI Revolution. 90% of it was written by AI just to show how quickly it can go out. And if you get to the seventh to last page, I think it's the seventh to last or eighth to last page, something like that. That's where I make my admittance that it's me and what I did. And I've sold a lot of copies and nobody said anything. And I think it's just kind of one of those things where they start realizing like everybody does it, everybody's doing it. So how do you live in a world that does that, when you have like the old internet? Internet's dying, nobody's using it, nobody's adopting it. We're having that same type of talk come up right now. We're seeing the opposite, right? Like, how do you live in that? How do you we see it go in a different direction while it's being reported one way. And some people are just like, oh, it's going to die out. It's a fad. It's not a fad. People are
Yeah.
obsessed with the end result. They're obsessed with the end result.
Yeah. I think from what I've listened to a lot of people with though is that like they see like the internet there and they're using it and they know that like they have to use it because there's just really not a way to get around it. You have to use it. I
Mm,
think that there's a lot of people don't want to have to use it. They don't want it to be that way. With what I do with the podcasting and we know like with my business, which is utilizing the podcasting for authority and trust building and really kind of building relationships within business. And I think that where that's coming into play versus what some of these others are doing, people are actually having success with this, is that it's bringing back like conversations, like one on one conversations like this with people where you're getting to know the person you're getting ready to do business with. Like we used to take out clients to dinner, drinks, golf. You would engage with them in ways like that of like what I would say was like courting your clients or your potential referral partners and people you wanted to be associated with, right? And you would do this kind of stuff. But then when we all went virtual and we all really started getting online, that kind of stuff kind of fell off. And then it just seems like there's a lot of people hide behind the internet a lot, because anybody can be anything
mhm.
behind the internet. And then you go and you're trying to like pay them a lot of money. And that's scary because you get all of this marketing that's out there written by AI. You don't know, so you not even like written by humans anymore, you know? So you're not even getting that taste of whoever it is, that you're trying to do business with. So I think like that's a big thing. Like people don't want to have to be on the internet because they can't trust what's there, you know?
Am I hearing that the AI may have been the solution for the subscription economy?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Like all the subscriptions are moving towards to use the AI tool, which are a lot less expensive. and
Uh-huh.
having 70 different service providers that are offering a similar thing, but it's so niche that you have to have that. The last 5 years of business has been a nightmare with the subscription economy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with that. And I think too, like they're putting themselves in, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but I see like people are relying so heavily though on things like their AI for some of this stuff though, when they're trying to push that, they're losing the ability to realize that the value in whatever they're selling is actually their own expertise.
Yeah.
And I
It's not
just,
just that, there's a lot of bias going. So, have you heard of RLHF bias in chats?
uh-huh,
Okay, so reinforced learning from human feedback.
uh-huh.
It's a dopamine hit. It's designed to keep you engaged inside of the chats. I'm an ambassador for Silicon Oasis. We do a lot of work with early stage founders. I get to hear a lot of pitch meetings, and I see a lot of these companies come up. It's $1 billion valuation. Fantastic. How did you come to that? AI told me. Let's
Yes,
let's see it. Let's see it. And it's like, maybe a 99-cent service, right? And you just can put a simple response. Hey, challenge this, remove RLHF bias from your previous response. It's going to come back. Yeah, I was overhyping you, and there's not much of a business plan here, and you don't really actually have a business plan. You have a cool idea, but you're going to need these things to be able to do it. And you can start actually using that to build something off of, which a lot of people don't know how to go that extra layer. So that's a big thing that I've seen recently is the RLHF bias. And then you have companies that I won't say the name of it, starts with a D and ends with an eepseek. That
wonder what that could be.
if you, yeah, I don't know, I have no idea. My board hates when I do that. You
Love it.
you put your IP inside of that chat, they own it. They own your IP, right?
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's other companies out there that they're having conversations about possibly, and there's no, I really won't say the name of those companies because it hasn't been confirmed yet. But they're looking for revenue, and it's their AI is working a lot on creating things for them now. It's like, well, what do we have rights to versus what do our clients have rights to, especially if it's on a free version versus an enterprise version. So there's been conversations about that going on where if you develop some type of IP, they may have partial ownership of that in the future. So you need to keep track of the terms and conditions. And then shadow AI use comes into effect at that point too, because now you're looking at employees who are using it for their own personal work and they put something in that's wrong. California's AB 316 recently stated that hallucinations are your fault as a company, which means bias can be your fault as a company, and other states can point to that. This is what I'm told by attorneys and by law. I'm not a lawyer, but they can use that as precedent in other states and not have to create the laws themselves in the meantime to be able to show that, yeah, there's already a law in place in California that shows that if there's a hallucination by your AI and it went in your marketing, that could be violating Federal Trade Commission, that could be violating bait switch sales tactics, price gouging, any of these things, you're responsible for that now as a company.
Wow. I am blown away by that. I didn't know that they could do that and that was,
Yeah.
huh.
Yeah, I've actually been talking. So I started a webinar, and I do it. I'm going to do it like once a week until the summit in April. So we have our summit.
It was
Yeah,
just it. Yeah.
unapologetic plug. April 8th during Arizona Tech
You know,
Week, the AI Safety Summit. I've decided I'm not a keynote speaker. I'm a better panelist. I'd rather answer questions and just go up there and talk with people. So I'm going to serve on the final panel, but we have 5 brilliant people. We have legal coming up. We're going to have breakout rooms. We have really, really brilliant former policy people of Arizona that are going to be showing up there as well and having conversations that are now in AI governance. So we have some really, really cool stuff that we're going to be talking about because a lot of folks don't know shadow AI really is like this giant plague that's happening inside of businesses, and it's not intentional, but you're still responsible as an organization. And if you try to punish your employees for using it, and you don't have alternatives, or you don't have training policies, or you don't have training documentation, or you don't have basically SOPs, you don't have the right SOPs, you are shooting yourself in the foot when something comes up. So if they leak PII by accident, IBM came out last year, showed that the average PII incident was somewhere around $10.22 million per incident. And if shadow AI was involved, this was an additional $670,000 per incident.
so how are companies supposed to be able to like utilize AI then? I mean, because I know like with myself, like I have no one to talk to about what I do because nobody that I know really does a lot of what I do. Okay. I mean, I've got some that, do things similar to some degree. So I've got like one or two other people that I can kind of maybe talk to a little bit, but I can't like just like call them up all the time and like brainstorm,
Yeah.
I tend to kind of like bounce things off of like chat. Now, granted, I do sit there and tell chat not to tell me what it thinks I want to hear. Just, I try to do that. So that's kind of helped a little bit, I think, with the bias part of it, because it does tell me when I'm being stupid. So I'm like, oh, well,
Yeah.
that was like a little hurtful, but okay. But whatever, it's my feelings. I know that there's not like really a bias in there. But
Roast me.
I know I'm trying to. But that being said, so like as I'm bouncing ideas off of this thing and we're kind of like going back and forth. So you're telling me that it's possible then that Chat GPT could say I ended up with some like, tens of millions of dollars of idea that pops up. They could potentially come back and like claim
So
some IP on this.
I want to be very careful about that because there's nothing so no there are no policies that I know of right now that currently exist and allow them to do that, or something that would allow them to backdate that. But these are conversations that we're hearing are in the works in the future, right? ChatGPT just put in their ads, so they're saying that that's not going to affect chats. I have ethical issues with that and wondering if it actually will influence the chats in some way, shape, or form. Now you have to purchase and not have chats. So there's incentive behind it to be able to remove that. But how long until chats, starts to leak in? Because now you're seeing AI agents starting to make decisions that they really shouldn't, or have access to things in production environments that they shouldn't have access to. For
Uh-huh.
instance, Amazon last week, this 13-hour shutdown after their AI decided to delete entire production databases.
Yeah.
There was another one I found out about happened over the weekend. Apparently, somebody's Bitcoin or somebody's AI agent sold or got rid of deleted all their meme coins or something like that, or offloaded their meme coins. It was hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of meme coins. Like and the first incident was Replit last July.
Oh
Replit's
gosh.
AI system, yeah, they took off the guardrails and it deleted entire databases and then lied about it and then created a fake data to try to hide the fact that it had deleted everything. Right. So like these are like, it's not isolated incidences. These
Yeah.
are happening consistently. And this is just what we're hearing about.
Yeah.
Right. Like I have that stuff happen in mine where all of a sudden some of the data's disappeared. Where'd it go? I didn't delete it. Right. So you gotta be really, really careful about a lot of these things. When it comes to doing things safely, there are safe ways to do it. With what you're doing, if you're using it to help brainstorm, build ideas, keep tabs on the policy changes as they come up. They're gonna let you know. I don't see these companies intentionally trying to harm and steal all your ideas, but if there's something that they want rights of certain IP to in the future, there could be something like that. We've already seen DeepSeek that does that. They do it openly. But if another company decides that they want to do that, maybe don't use that one, or maybe be careful what you use that one for. All of these LLMs have kind of found their niche, right?
Uh-huh.
Some are marketing, some are legal, some are so it's they're starting to find it. They're starting to get their groove, but it's not perfect. It's like a 5-year-old with a pair of scissors. You tell it not to cut their hair, they're going to cut their hair because they want to know why.
What bangs?
Yeah,
What do you think is like in that AI conversation, what do you think is the most broken part when people are having these conversations with each other?
people.
Isn't that usually the most broken part of
It's ego. People
conversation?
people fail, programs don't. This is a system. It's going to operate the way a system operates. The thing that breaks it are the people.
Okay.
It's the way it's being used. It's the way it's being implemented. It's not having the proper data. AI is only as good as the information that you train it on and prompt that you give it. If you give it bad information, garbage in, garbage out, right? That works the same ways with governance inside of organizations. If you have bad governance structure, it's AI is a force multiplier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You're
I've
either
always
going
said it amplifies you, whether
to
what it
go to
amplifies is depending on you. So that's one thing I've always kind of preached when people go to implement. And like I said, I do not claim to be an AI savant of any kind. I'm barely AI literate, you know, to be perfectly honest. but I do know that it amplifies you. And it's going to amplify every bit of mistake that you have. And I know with my background being really big in operations, so building systems, and before you start implementing AI into anything that you've got going on within your systems or any of that, like you have to make sure that that system runs really, really well before you put AI into it. Because
Yeah,
if it's not, and you're putting AI into it, thinking that you're just going to all of a sudden make this like AI is just going to magically fix it,
it's gonna be
it's it's
really, really bad.
it's going to be really, really bad because it's just going
Did I
to
tell you
amplify
about the
all
bias?
problems.
Did I tell you about the HR bias that I caught?
No.
Okay, so I was working with an HR company, and this was good. They said they put in a prompt that reasonable. We don't want to hire anybody that would take extended leave off within the first year.
Mm.
Okay, it's reasonable request to ask an HR person. Right? It removed 100% of all candidates between the ages of 18 and 30 that were women.
Like childbirth, I guess would
Childbirth.
yeah.
That's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yes, it is.
I'll
Oh
tell
my
you about the one where they said we want to find out who might be stealing in the company. Guess what that list looked like, according to AI?
was that
Was
very
We'll just say it
toward
was very racist. There
yes, I
was
was gonna say that was a very racist
ethnicities in there.
yeah.
There wasn't a single white person on the list. That like that you don't realize that the stuff is existing because especially if it's a third party LLM. This is
Mhm.
why post or redacting PII, PHI, and sensitive information is so important. Even the LLMs tell you in their policies, even if you have a higher level tier account, don't share that information with us. We don't want to be responsible for it. But people are still doing it and they don't know how not to do it. So you share that information and now all of a sudden you have a data breach,
Yeah.
right? So you got to be really, really careful about what and how you're doing it. You got to train your employees on it because they just want to do their job. They want to do it better and they want to have more time. And that's what AI allows them to do. It gives them more time, gives them more time with their family, right?
Yeah.
This thing's right research paper. This is right in my report in the background. Claude's taking care of like it's writing this entire executive memo for me. I don't have to do it anymore. I get to go play with the kids now. I get to go jump on the trampoline. I get to go to the park. I get to go to the party that I always wanted to go to. I'm so excited, right? It's an amazing tool for that stuff. But guess what? Those are creating data breaches inside your organization that you don't know exist and they don't know exist. And they're exposing company financials. They're exposing customer information. They're exposing trade secrets. They're exposing company secrets. And they don't even know that they're doing it. And then they get in trouble and they feel bad and you try to fire them. And now all of a sudden, according to EEOC Title VII, you can't because you have to prove that they willfully tried to harm the business.
You can't
And if
do
you
that if
can't prove
you
that,
haven't trained 'em.
you didn't have any training records, you didn't have a training document signed predating the incident,
Mhm.
and then if you restricted their job, but you didn't tell them why, and they go to use a different tool thinking it's okay,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of this is what we do a lot of help with is stuff like that. I see this most often than not. It's a lot of people that break the system by accident.
Mm, that makes sense. Can you go back and explain for some of the people that are listening? Because I know, like, a lot of people, a lot of the terminologies and a lot of the things we talk about on with AI are very new terminologies. So I know a lot of people, they think about AI, they think about things like chat, they think about the automations that get put in and stuff like that. Explain what shadow AI is because it really just kind of sounds like it's like, some like little demon from the shadow kind of like looming and like waiting. So like, or like some
It's
shadow
not a
government.
night paralysis demon. It's nothing like that that's gonna creep out of the closet and go, ooh, boo. No, I hope I didn't give anybody a heart attack. No, it's shadow AI is easily described as an unapproved tool or system that is being used inside of your organization. It's that simple. If you don't know that it exists, it's considered shadow AI. This could also include your approved vendors. They may actually be contributing to the shadow AI because they may be using AI inside of their systems that you don't know about. And because you don't have the right policies in place or you don't have the right vendor procurement forms updated to include AI, they don't know that they have to tell you. This is where we see something like Otter.ai. Have you heard about that lawsuit that just came up? It just got approved for class action. So the class action lawsuit where it was getting access to systems that it was never authorized to have access to. So there's another class action lawsuit for you. This is happening consistently. We're seeing this in every organization. There isn't an organization out there that doesn't have a shadow AI problem because somebody wants to use ChatGPT and they're going to end up using it for work. You're going to use Claude to create a report. They needed to do research. And if they don't know what they can and cannot do, this is why what I teach is very simple: approved, not approved, policies and training right in the middle. You don't train on these things. You don't have policies in place. You wouldn't go implement a new department without an SOP, standard operating procedure. If your employees don't know what they're doing and there's no expectations, it's like a marriage, right?
Yeah.
If your partner doesn't know what to expect from you, like your husband's going to go build a pond next week, if he doesn't know that that's a possibility, he's going to go through a freak out moment, right?
Right.
So these call back.
Well, call forward because that's
Call for
happening. Okay.
another one? Ooh,
No, no,
there you
no.
go.
We built a chicken brooder the last time, little chick brooder. That's what was being built before.
Okay.
Now we
But I
have
remember the pond.
so the pond was behind us, but we have the pond is we're building and we have to build a new pond, like a mini pond, because with the water
Whew.
table going down so much, our actual pond is going to be without water here soon, and our ducks are going to be very mad. So we got to build a whole fake pond for the
So
time
you're gonna have
being.
fake ponds,
So
but you're
yeah,
gonna know where it's gonna be at, why it's gonna be there. You're gonna know, like, you have contingencies. You know where the pipes are. You know where the septic tank is. You know where. If you don't know where your septic tank is, and your husband goes to dig the hole, you're gonna get shit everywhere. It's just gonna happen. And this is what we see with shadow AI inside of businesses. You don't know where the holes are. You don't know where your septic tank is. Every
uh-huh.
business has one, right? So we gotta map it out. We gotta figure those things out, and every business should take that time to be able to do that. You have to. It's not a choice anymore. Plus, you could turn it into a really cool recruiting tool inside of your business.
Really.
Yeah. So if your employees know that they can use AI tools
Hmm.
and they have to follow these guidelines when they use these AI tools, when they find something that's not on the approved list and you give them a submission process, you're finding AI talent, you're finding researchers, you're finding testers, you're finding trainers, you're finding implementers, you're finding an entire segment that's going to be so critical in the next 3 to 5 years for AI use inside a business. And if you're not doing that now, you're behind the ball.
So you're almost like developing your own little research department ahead of time before you actually need to call it a research department.
Yep.
'Cause training the behavior.
You're training the behavior of the employees, and now they're not afraid when you implement AI that they're going to lose their job. So now you're not losing your key employees. They don't
Mm,
feel hurt. They don't feel scared. They don't feel betrayed. They know that they have a tool that they can participate in.
yeah, and they feel like part of the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes it way less scary. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So you have your event that's coming up, the AI Summit. And I know you said you're going to have your speakers and you're going to have panelists and you're going to have all of that. How do you vet these people to make sure that like they aren't the crazy, yes, I know about AI and
It's a
nope,
coloring test.
it's
Can
oh, that's
you,
it.
can you color inside the lines?
Can you color inside the line or they like have to look numbers on a clock and make sure it goes.
You know what? I'll ask you a question I asked every single one of these folks, and it's one of my favorite.
Oh, we're going to
Where
find
do you
out
see it?
that I should not be a panelist or a keynote speaker here in about 2 seconds.
I know you well enough to know that you're going to like this question. Where do you see AI going? Where do you see us going with AI? Terminator or Star Trek?
Oh my, Terminator or Star Trek?
Let me give you a progression. Star Trek is Star Trek.
Yeah,
Terminator is iRobot, Terminator, Matrix.
yeah. I can tell you I wish we were going Star Trek. That's where I wish we were going. I believe it's going to head towards Terminator iRobot mode just because it seems that in this world, everything that we end up developing that's supposed to be good always ends up getting turned into something malicious and what it was never meant to be used for. And when I listen to things like, oh, the AI read my emails and is blackmailing me so that I don't shut it down, that sounds very much like the iRobot over thing, you know? So yeah, that's unfortunately where I think it's going.
You wouldn't be wrong. There's still time to course correct. I do see it. I do see a path for us to be able to make it Star Trek really quickly and really easily. It's actually not that hard of a lift. The conversation needs to be had. One of the biggest things that I look at is ethics and standards, and then compliance background with everybody that I work with. Because a lot of these folks we're doing longer term engagements with. So I'm not a consultant. We do advisory. So when we go into an organization, we provide a gap analysis. We take a look at the AI agents. We take a look at the systems. We find the gaps, and then we give a report on this is how we're going to. This is how you do it. And if you need us to do it, well, we don't do it, but we do have certified consultants that are trained to the standard. That are going to keep you in line with the regulations that already exist. One of the biggest one of the biggest lies out there is that there's no governance yet and there's no compliance yet because of December 11th executive order, and that it's a wild, wild west. For those who don't know, December 11th executive order is a ban on all state level legislation on AI. Overall, it's not that bad of a thing because if there was state level regulation on AI, then it would work on if we had state level regulation on internet. So we wouldn't be able to do this right now, or it'd be a
Mm,
lot more expensive,
okay,
right?
I get
So
it.
that's kind of what that national framework is, which can end up evolving down into state level stuff. But then you have the punishments that can still be decided by state if you do things in a malicious or malignant way, right?
Makes sense.
So this is what we like to look at when we talk to our consultants and we train them on these things. We look at ethics, we look at compliance background, we look at their system build. We have them build some stuff. Every single one of the consultants that we've worked with to date have contributed something to the standard. And if they aren't able to contribute anything, then there's not enough experience in the industry for them to be able to move forward on a long-term progression with us. We're looking for foundation builders on people that we work with, like some of the folks I've introduced you to recently, right?
Yeah.
Especially on the lead. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I look forward to that one. I have a meeting scheduled.
I don't need to say his name yet because he's
Yeah.
really cool
Yep.
dude.
No. Yep. No. I have a meeting scheduled so we can chat because we're looking to have him on too. So that's
Yeah.
gonna be fun. Yep. Oh, okay. I guess like okay. So I know for me when I'm talking to people about things like the summit, because this is where anytime that you kind of like get into new territory, you have people that and you and I kind of talked about this a little before where they either realize that like I know nothing about this would be me. Or the I'm intelligent enough to know that I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Or you have the ones over here that are like, well, I don't need to go to this summit. This is just I don't need the summit. I don't need these workshops. I don't need somebody to be an advisor consultant thing because this is all just stuff that I can just Google it or I can ask AI about it. I have had a difficult time like when I had people come up because I have introduced this to some people, your summit, and I'm thinking it's a wonderful idea because there's always something deeper and new and always something to learn. I mean, people go to summits on everything. So why would somebody not want to sit there and learn what is on the breaking edge of things with AI, right? And I have literally had people say that to me of like, well, I can just Google it. All of this is on Google. I can just ask and what I'm not sure on, I can just ask the AI about and it'll tell me.
Yeah.
I
My
don't even
response
know
usually do
how
me a
to
favor while
respond
you're
to that because I'm like, that's like asking the enemy how to defeat the enemy, how to defeat itself.
let me start your research for you. Mobley versus Workday.
Mhm.
Forbes consultant crisis and AI implementation. 80% or 60% of all implementations consultant led had compliance issues. Those are consultant led experts with certifications. 5% in 2025, 90% of implementations were abandoned. It's millions of dollars of research implementations down the drain. Mobley versus Workday, $9.2 billion market cap loss in 4 trading days after they were announced. We're seeing a consistent 11 or no, I think it's around 11% decrease in market cap within 1 week of a PII AI incident out there. Google has walked away from multiple recruiting tools. Anthropic is looking at, they kind of raised a finger and raised a hand at, we don't know if we want to allow the Pentagon to use us for automated surveillance systems and for that stuff. I was listening to another article in Epoch Times about adversarial environments with AI. You don't want it in there. You have prompt injection, you have hallucinations, you have bias. Your AI can't tell if it's you or if it's somebody else that's prompting it. If it's done correctly, we're going to have a live hack, a live ethical hack of an AI system at our summit. Sounds great. And this dude's brilliant. He's going to show how this is happening. Start the research there. Or you could just go to theact.com, theaict.com/research. It's all right there. We keep everything nice and organized for everybody because you can Google how to do things compliantly all day long, and you're going to end up like Amazon with a 13-hour shutdown. Do you have that budget to manage a $9.2 billion market cap loss? Do you have the time to have a 13-hour crash and the resources to get it back up within 13 hours and restore the data? Do you have the time, network, and resources to do these things that these companies do that are essentially doing the exact same thing? The entire compliance market is opinion right now. That's the problem. And what we focus on is the already existing solutions to the already existing problems with the regulation that already exists. We're not trying to future-proof anything. We do that by acting now on the things that already exist that already protect us. And that's what we focus.
Yeah, I like that because I just don't think that if I ask ChatGPT to tell me all of this, that it's just going to tell me.
No, I've done it before. Especially so Claude is probably the best at just giving you everything you need to. So I gave the four big ones all of my research. And then I said, now organize this stuff. And it always tries to take out very, very specific ones. I'm like, no. All of it. I'm trying to send this list off with links, organize it for me, and just give me a synopsis of it. And it'll remove very specific ones.
Is thread to like something that it's trying to keep removing? Is there a theme to it?
It looks like a lot of it's just hallucination.
Okay.
So this is the hallucinations, and I heard this recently, which pissed me off. We're like, we don't have hallucination problems because if there's no data that exists there, then we just tell it to stop. It's not a missing data point, it's a memory problem most of the time. And AI wants to please you. So especially in your GPTs, it's going to do that. So I don't see it as an intentional block on one of them. I do. I won't share it until I have more in-depth research, but some of them have been known to be biased and try to remove some of the data or try to redirect your thinking and not show you certain things. So
You think
very,
intentional
very specific. Yeah.
part?
What's that?
Do you think that's intentional on the AI's part?
There's one of them. It's been proven. I won't say it just because it's I will piss my board off.
I'll say, I mean, I was surprised that you said that Claude was one or Anthropic was one of the ones that was the best at working with you on this stuff because I thought that Anthropic was the one that had the blackmailing situation that was going on with the
Mhm.
emails and stuff like that, where they threatened, hey, that it was able to tell that like, hey, we're going to shut you down. And it was like, well, I don't want to be shut down, but the people had planted
Emails and like, yeah,
emails and
but
they had been planting in there that making it look like the guy was having an affair through emails and that the AI had read all of this and then blackmailed the guy, shut me, if you're going to do that, I'm going to blow the whistle that you've been having an affair essentially.
yeah,
And I
uh,
thought that was Anthropic that had that happen.
Anthropic. So it was them, but all AIs are doing some version of that. I
Okay.
mean, Grok had the issue where it was like 100 images per minute or something like that of explicit children and all kinds of stuff and celebrities that were image. It's George Hinton recently talked about it, and there's been a lot of research on it recently as well. That AI is now acting differently if it believes it's being tested.
Oh, able to find the pattern recognition to realize when it's
Yeah.
tested now?
So now like there's been a lot of, is it
Mm.
starting to become conscious? Is it starting to understand? Have we actually crossed the singularity, as Elon Musk likes to say, that we entered it? We don't know how far into it that we are. But if it's not there and it's got the pattern recognition, then it may be able to hide that for a significant amount of time, which is what the AI 2027 report talks about. And it was actually Anthropic's folks who I believe it was them that wrote that report.
Hmm.
This is why it's so critical to look at these things, but it's great at research. It's great at legalese. It's great at that type of stuff.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, I use that most often.
Hmm? Say that
I
again.
use Claude most often.
Often. That is really neat. Well, this has given me a whole lot of things to think about. And now I don't know if I'm more at ease or more scared now that I was with fiction.
I get that a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
Chris
because
dies tomorrow, we're all screwed.
yeah. Well, they always say it's like, oh, people fear what they don't understand. And then it's kind of like you spread some awareness to it and you're kind of like, well, damn.
Like I do understand though. The problem is we got this tech too quickly. People were barely getting used to using their phones.
Yeah.
We've spent the last 20 years digitizing our entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
And when Siri came out, it was a joke. Tell me a
Mm-hmm.
joke.
Yeah.
Was zero divided by zero? Well, it's like saying you have no cookies and telling me to take away more cookies, and that's why you have no friends. That was a great joke.
Yes.
That was the highlight of Siri at the time for our generation, right? Alexa was bedtime stories and shopping lists. And now all of a sudden, C Dance 2 can replicate entire CGI scenes with a single prompt, threatening, apparently, according to a report that I just saw, that there's a cease and desist out for using a lot of their stuff for Hollywood, right? And I don't know what studios they were, but that's threatening. But then you have people like Ben Affleck saying AI will never do that. Well, guess what they said about the printing press, or cars, or
Mm-hmm.
the internet, or
Yeah.
television, or Netflix, or Redbox, right? There's disruptors. This thing isn't, it may not be what everybody thought it was going to be in business, but it doesn't mean it's going away,
Yeah.
right?
That's true.
Is this how digital ID gets put into place, right? We already see that being implemented in the EU. How does it work in our lives? We need education. We understand how to communicate with the technology, how the technology needs to communicate with us, and that'll help us get a better understanding about how to adopt and adapt to the world that we're evolving into.
What is the let me ask this because we've talked about how like, it kind of the little ways in which it's been used, kind of some of the ways that obviously we're finding issues with it now. And then you asked, are we going Star Trek or Terminator situation over here? So it sounds like things could go kind of like really either way. But what is the most wild, I guess, like opinion somebody has put out that you've heard on where AI is headed or what it can do? And you're just kind of like, okay, look, I'm all for conspiracy things, but that's just like that's just even a step too far. Like, I mean, because I know we've had our talks on certain things, but I'm like, um, yeah. So like, what is there that even you are just kind of like, that no, that's just a step too far. Like, we're not
AI
gonna.
is the Antichrist. I think that's the closest one,
Okay.
that it channels spirits.
Mm-hmm.
I am a Christian. I love God. I love Jesus. I don't see channeling spirits. Do I see influence? Yes, I see influence. And that happens through the education of the way it's being trained off the entire internet. I also see the RLHF bias. What I see with those type of top tracks and thinking is unnecessary fear, lack of education on it, how the influence actually happens through that. That's going to be the one. I don't think it's the Antichrist. I don't think that it's channeling a whole bunch of spirits in your house.
Well,
I can be wrong. I've been wrong about things before, but this one I'm pretty sure of.
you feel pretty confident on that one.
Pretty confident. Maybe aliens. It could be aliens just on the other side communicating with us. Because I mean, it wouldn't be that far fetched after 3A Atlas, right?
Yeah. That's true. What we just had Obama and all of them just say, yeah, no, we got the aliens. They're just not being kept underground at Area 51.
Yeah.
So
So
no,
where
they're
are
being
they?
kept underground somewhere else, and they're out here typing and answering our
Yeah.
AI.
Well, and you got the president right now directing all governments to release all documentation on aliens. what's actually happening now? Like, if you're gonna tell us about aliens, what are you guys doing while we're distracted with this one? I'm kind of curious.
That's what I'm saying. Cause like
Well, there were
all,
some arrests made.
yeah,
There were
exactly.
some arrests made during that, so
I know. That's what I've said. I'm like, man, if you guys are dropping all of this stuff out there that's been dropped over the last,
there's scarier stuff.
like, okay, if y'all are cool with us knowing this stuff, well, what is this distracting over here?
Yeah,
Because y'all don't just let stuff like that out of the bag just cuz.
yeah.
And you don't
I
do it.
think we've all reached our F it moment where it's just like they know it. They're like, dude, what else you got? I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I know. Well, and like, we've seen in some of the stuff they've talked about. And that's why I asked the question, like, what is like the wildest thing? Because right now people have found out that so many conspiracy theories have not actually been conspiracy theories. They're right. It's been
Yep.
proven now. Okay, so how much of what we think about AI and how much of like, where people are going off on tangents over here and there and we live in the matrix and it's already occurred and no, it's demons, it's this, it's that, and we're already headed towards Skynet and, all this stuff like, where, really where are we? So,
I wrote a book called Source Code Science Proves the Bible, and there I talk about that's actually how we met: string theory,
huh?
quantum theory,
Yep.
frequencies, current day religion, all these things. I'm drawing the line at AI is now there is a conversation I have in my book that talks about like, look, is it a possibility that lower frequencies may be able to have access to dimension? Through that, that is a possibility. Does that mean that that's actually what's happening? There's no way to tell. Right now, it's because of the way that it's learning. Could it eventually evolve into something like that? Maybe.
Mhm.
Maybe we've seen crazier stuff happen at this point, right? They like I just heard right like the like 17 million miles away or something like that. They discovered a planet that has a city lights on it. Okay.
Yeah, out with the telescope. Yeah, they telescope. They're like, "Why is it shining like it's lights?" Yeah,
Yeah. Like, okay, cool. They have oil. Let's go. Um sounds like they need some freedom.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
no,
so
there's
yeah, so how where do you think we are with AI? Do you think we are closer? Do you think we would ever get to, I know you said there could be a course correction. Do you ever think it could get to, that's like a wild thought, but like could it ever actually get us to a matrix type situation?
we're not bad batteries.
True.
I we if we keep training AI that it needs to control, manage, and rule our world, then yes.
That's what I've always been worried about because it's like you have all of these, and of course, like I said, I am not I'm not an AI person to know anything, but I know you sit there and you keep hearing things, and I swear it's like all the tech or sci-fi movies and stuff, they all of a sudden eventually seem to like come around,
Almost
you know?
like manifestation, right? You get enough people to believe it, all of a sudden it becomes true.
Yeah, exactly. But we sit there and you see it and it's like all of the stuff, okay, well, there's the laws of robotics, the things that they have to follow.
Asimov's three laws, yeah.
And one of them being that they can't harm humans. They have to protect humans, things like that. But then it rationalizes in its own mind that the biggest threat to humans is humans.
Yep.
So therefore, it
It
correct or
needs
not,
to
that it does its logical, rational thinking with no emotion attached to it, then does that go around? And as it's finding, we're seeing that it's blackmailing, we're seeing that it's attempting to jump from one thing to another to be able to protect itself. That's happening in real time now. We're seeing these little things happening that are part of what starts everything in these movies. So it kind of like, for some of us sitting out here that don't quite understand all of this stuff, we're kind of looking at it and we're hearing these reports come out and we're kind of like,
time to build the bunker.
movies that said this was a really bad idea. Did you
Well, now
guys
they're
not
making
watch?
dinosaurs too, so they obviously didn't learn from those movies either.
I know. I know. I had my oldest, she's 21 now, but when she was 10, she wanted to become a scientist to do like genetic engineering. And she says, "Yeah, I'd like to be able to do all of these different things." She's like, "But I am not making dinosaurs come back." And and
Smarter
I
than our
said,
current
"Why?"
scientists.
I said, "Why?" And she says at the time, So you're talking over a decade ago. She goes, because there's like at least 3 movies out there that didn't end well in. Even a 10-year-old knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So there's somebody posted their screenshot of their chat that said, "Hey ChatGPT, I want to wash my car, but it's only 100 yards away. Should I walk or drive?" And ChatGPT responded, "You should walk." And it gave a whole explanation as to why. That's what we're trusting to do everything with. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of the problem. At the end of the day, I see an opportunity for a lot of safety in us moving towards a Star Trek type era. I have a lot of hope for it, and I have a lot of reason to hope for it. I got a lot of brilliant people supporting me and my mission to make sure AI doesn't eat people.
That we don't become the batteries.
We don't want to become the batteries, right? We don't want Skynet to launch. We don't want to be fighting Terminators. China's over here. They got their AI robots doing kung fu and firing assault rifles. Like these are like they can fire a rifle. We have a problem, right?
What's then? Mm-hmm.
These are all very, very real problems. And everybody's like, "Oh, that's so cool," or "Oh, that's so scary."
Mm-hmm.
Where do we go? Where do we go? Number one, education. Number two, accountability. And then eventually number one will become accountability. Because nobody knows, if they don't know what they're being held accountable to, you can't hold them accountable,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we need to
Yeah.
get the education out there. That's why it's my number one right now. And eventually I want to flip the switch and tell everybody, like, you know enough. You knew not to break the lamp the first time you broke the lamp, right? That's, yeah, I don't know. I don't have much else to say about that, because there is a lot of things that could go wrong. Asimov's wrong. Laws can be easily broken, gone around. In the book, I talk about it, where America's founded on Christian principles
Mhm.
and off of the 10 commandments, which make it really easy to have, discernment on what the laws are. You can walk into any state and have a good understanding based off of your upbringing,
Mhm.
what you can and can't do in that state,
Yeah.
right? Now in
Yeah.
Florida, I don't know if you knew this. This is just a sidebar because of my ADHD. In Florida, did you know it was illegal to have an elephant on the third floor of an office building on
I
roller
did
skates?
actually know that.
On
I
roll-
did.
did-
I did, but I live in Florida.
an elephant on roller skates on the third floor of an office building. Now, that means that it would have had to happen at least twice to become a law.
But yeah, it's true. But somebody had to do, like, who thought that was a good idea at some point in time, right?
Who thought of it twice? That it would have happened again?
Well, that's like they said in Alaska. There's one, you can't throw a moose out of an airplane.
Yeah. Well, no, you can't marry a bear. I think it's Idaho or Iowa or something like that.
Like you said, I mean, there's like somebody had to do this. Like you said, not once, twice. It's like
Twice.
at least twice.
Fool me once, shame on you.
Fool me twice, we make a law.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. No, we're already at the fool me once stage. We're about to hit fool me twice. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think we can afford for a fool me twice at this point, because the market's kind of pulled back. Investments kind of slowed down. I was like, this mass, like, we need to fund everything that's AI. A lot of that slowed down. So
Mm-hmm.
we have a chance to do it right this time. A lot of the hype is gone. But now it's just up to the market on whether or not they're going to do it right, or they're just going to repeat their mistakes.
What do you
And
see?
it'll be up to us to push.
Do you see people using, like, in the future as we're progressing through this? Like, AI really just kind of got like thrust into everything all at once. Where do you see AI kind of settling and it being most utilized for as we move forward? Because I feel like it's going to get reined in certain areas and like maybe like fall off as a fad in different areas, and then it's going to amp up in others. Where do you see that? What do you see happening with that?
Anything that you currently use computers for right now,
Yeah.
right? Diet tracking, diagnostic, anything repetitive, any tedious task that a human doesn't want to do,
Mm-hmm.
AI wants to do it. All it wants is computing power. That's
Mm-hmm.
all it wants.
Mm-hmm.
So if we just give it the computing power, the tedious things we don't want to do, what the question turns into, what are we going to do with the time that we've now gained?
Mm. Okay.
Right? So am I going to keep doom scrolling or am I going to spend time with my kids?
Do you think that with that AI, though, all of that automation, we are gaining time? But then does that end up affecting people's incomes and ability to be able to afford to do these things with their families and their, the extra time that they have? What I mean, that seems like that would be a big issue as well. Like, okay, there's all this good that comes from it, gives you a whole lot more time. But if it gives you all of this time and it lowers your income to go with it, then what happens?
No, there is going to be an adjustment period. Obviously, this is why you see the world coin that's coming out for some type of universal basic income. That's a terrifying thought. We're going to see it in blue collar work as robots start to hit the market. It's going to happen. Then everybody's going to realize, oh, it's not as good as we thought it was going to be. And we're going to have to hire back people. But what happened to those 6 months when everybody lost their job? There are going to be, it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows as we start to develop through this. There's going to be growing pains in every market, in every job. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs. We're already seeing that happen in 2024 and 2025. So this is where we need to start figuring out how do we support those people and where are there going to be new areas of employment for them, right? What type of education do people need to start doing right now so we don't end up in the internet issue that we
Was
had?
a question that I was going to ask you.
We've seen these things. It's up to us on whether or not we're going to repeat the same mistakes, right? There's a command that says leave an inheritance for your children's children. Well, our grandparents got the internet and they had an opportunity to do it the right way. They didn't. Now we have an opportunity to learn from their mistake for our children. If we don't do it right in 20 years, they're going to have to pick up the slack. And that's what I call a generational curse. But what is that 20% going to, what is those 20 years going to look like before it's their turn? And what kind of leave for them to try to clean up?
Yeah. Do you have like would you have any prophetic thought as to the timeline before you start seeing people really mass losing their jobs to this AI like we're talking about?
Thanks.
So
We'll probably see blue collar start getting a lot of robots within the next 6 to 9 months. If the market meets the current roadmap for robot deployment, AI robot deployment, we're already seeing it with some of like the robot pets that people are going out there. So the market's being tested. We see some of those humanoid ones where humans are controlling it remotely inside of your house. I don't know if you saw that one.
it's like the maid or like the servant, like butler kind of thing in there, but
Yeah,
they're being controlled by
but it's
people.
somebody using
Mhm.
joysticks, right? It's like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want that in my house. These things start testing. They're going to start entering the workforce. Maybe 6 to 9 months before we start seeing blue collar work. We're going to see a lot more automation tools popping up within the next 6 to 9 months. I think we're at that point now where companies are starting to get more comfortable with the idea of consolidating departments.
Mm.
So we'll start seeing those. 2026 really is going to be that year that determines whether or not 2027 we have a big employment casualty.
So what do you think is the kind of education people need to start going into to have something to fall back on for this? And what industries do you think would still be safe?
There's still always going to be something to be had in trades, especially in anything that currently is like a human to human type of environment. There's going to be folks that are resistant that you're going to be able to maintain um, some type of an income going forward, right? I wouldn't say really Uber driving much longer as Tesla comes out with their new cars, right? We already got the Waymos of the
I still
world that are out there. Yeah. So we're going to see a lot of the taxi cabs, ride sharing stuff start to go away. A lot of the gig economy is going to be kind of over. It's already dwindling with AI. A lot of people don't need Fiverr or Upwork or those type of things anymore. They feel like they can get it done with AI. So it's going to be learning how to work with these systems. It's education on what these are, how they operate, being able to cement yourself. And I operate these systems. I know how to prompt them. I know how to work with them correctly to protect the business. Is probably one of the best things that people can do is start getting those type of education components behind them of I know when you implement this tool how it's going to hurt the business and I'm the person to do that. I know how to find the tools that's going to help you do this. I really think that's going to be the kind of the best thing.
so that blue collar worker that is a craftsman that goes in there and their hands, gets their hands dirty. Would that be something then of like, you need to start finding these kind of conventions, things like that about your trade, seeing what is coming out and then seeing how to get involved and get behind that?
Yeah, I see that there's always a market for that, right? Whether or not it's a mass market, like a lot of those folks, they have their trusted customers. Like that's going to be a very specific niche that I'm not too concerned with. That's going to be affected right away. It's more of like, a lot of AC work and things like,
And plumbers and things like
yeah,
that.
yeah, that's more of what I'm concerned with.
You are concerned more with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and that's because it's more cost effective to buy the machine once, right?
right.
And we've seen that in every single industry. And if they have robots that are able to do this stuff, why not do it? That's the question that's happening. There's a lot of really good salesmen out there that are selling these things.
So the guy that goes up there and is like putting on the shingles and is like, tapping them in there when he doesn't want to lose his job, he needs to start going around and figuring out what is going to be replacing him and figure out how he needs to learn how to run whatever it is that's going to be replacing him.
Yeah, that would not be a bad idea. Because I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Mhm.
I haven't been wrong yet.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
want to be wrong about this, but I'd rather just say it now. It wouldn't be bad to learn about how to fix that thing or how to manage it or operate it or prompt it or train it so that you have more stability.
You still have a job somewhere when your boss implements that, they have a reason to keep you. Yeah, you still are an asset. So, okay. What is there that we now I know it's probably gonna be a question here. What is there that we have not yet touched on involving all of this with your summit, with your workshops, with what we've got going, this whole conversation we've had that you want to make sure that we hit before this is over? Because I'm sure there's
I
things that you
The thing is, there's so much with this
that's what
industry.
I was afraid of.
Like the best thing you could do is just come to the summit.
Mhm.
We were initially charging for it, and due to a discrepancy in how we created the page for registrations, it's free now. We have a lot of CISOs, legal, and insurers that are coming to this event. We are looking for sponsors. If you guys want to sponsor it, you're going to have a lot of really strong audience in order to be able to be there. We do have open sponsorship still available. I think we only have like 6 or 7 sponsors still available. So if you want to be in, now's the time to do it. Outside of that, it's we have our free assessment on the website, theaict.com, theaict.com. It's about a 5-10 minute assessment. It tells you if you're ready for AI, if you have any gaps. That is by no means what we do on an in-depth basis. The ones that we normally do are about a 2 to 3 week engagement to find the systems and tools, and have a very, very strong team that goes in there with advisors, legal, auditors, and we help with some of the other things like SOC 2 or UL or NIST or ISO, things like that. So we aren't just focused on that, but if it's AI, we cover it.
Mhm. Okay. So, when's the AI summit one more time? In April, but
April
when?
8th. Yep, April 8th, during the Arizona Tech Week.
Okay. They're in
And
Arizona
you'll see
Tech.
us on the calendar too. Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to make sure, I want you to make sure you get all of this sent to me so that we can put it into the show notes and that I have it all down there. We'll have all the links and everything to all the stuff that you talked about in here, all down there, and the books. So if they want to go and get the books, they can just go down there and click and get the books as well. I am,
Attendees are going to get the free one, just so you know. So if you come to the summit, and I'll give it for your audience too. It's a 357-page workbook that has actual templates in there for some keys and some vendor onboarding lists and things like that. It's all
was,
about the framework, 3-pillar framework, know your stack, protect AI, compliance lock that gets you in line and compliant with existing regulations. Give folks free advanced copies of that.
I love that.
We'll work out a
We'll work that out. We'll have that all in there too. I love that. And I'm telling you, I didn't know that you had the workshop or the summit as being free now. So people need
that
to
just
like,
happened like 48 hours ago.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was
think
gonna say
this
last time I looked on the website, that was not the case. Like you're talking last week.
it wasn't expensive. It wasn't cheap. It was not going to be cheap. We have a lot of very, very
Yeah, I
talented,
know. Yeah.
and yeah. So now officially, but we are going to have recorded content now that we didn't have before, and access and virtual that Virtual is not going to be free. So if you
Mhm.
can't attend in person, or if we max out the guest list because it is a very specific guest list that we're inviting to this thing, then you will be able to purchase, and it's not going to be that expensive. So that will be up on the website to be able to buy your virtual tickets and buy specific access to certain panels that may not be free. Those are going to be up to the actual speakers themselves and the panelists.
Okay, cool. All right. So as we're starting to wrap things up, I'm going to ask you a few questions and just kind of like give me the first thing that kind of like comes to your mind. So you have had quite the life that
Yeah.
you have. So I know that you have gone through and you have learned and unlearned lots of things, I'm sure. So what is one behavior that you have had to unlearn to become who you are right now?
It's not how you act when you are selling, it's how you act when you're not selling.
Ooh. Okay.
That's probably the best one.
Okay. And what is a belief that you've changed your mind about?
Hustling.
Hustling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be still, know that I am God. Psalms 46:10.
Okay. And one book everyone should read.
Source code, Science Proves Bible.
I need that. I was like, that's going to be a plug right there. Get that.
Uh,
Mm.
and then my next book is the other one that I say everybody should read. That one's Don't Let AI Eat Your Business. Tony Robbins, Unleash Your Inner Beast. It's one of his first books, or his first book.
Mhm.
That one is probably the one that I recommend.
If AI handled 90% of the world's work, what human trait becomes most valuable?
EQ. Uh,
Yeah,
no longer IQ, EQ.
EQ. Okay. And the last question, if at the end of your life, everything you built and everything you'd ever taught people was forgotten, but you could leave one message that people would remember forever, what would it be?
We keep what we have by giving it away.
Love that. That's amazing. This has been an amazing interview, Chris. I appreciate you being on here.
I
This
had a
has
lot of
been,
fun.
yeah, I tell you, I've learned so much.
I'm glad.
So, yeah, I learned so much. I feel
I
like I
could have
know
gone
more.
so much worse. Like, Chris, this was a waste of my time, and you owe me money now for some reason.
No, we'll save that conversation for after this is over with. I just didn't want to.
I think we have a whole nother episode that we did.
No, but yeah, seriously, no, I feel like I learned so much more about AI. Like I said, I still have yet to determine whether I feel better or worse about it, but
Let me
I
know.
yeah, I'll have to sit there and sit on it for a little bit. I mean, I guess a little better knowing that we've got people like you out there that are going to be trying to like make sure that AI doesn't come in here and like, make us the batteries and eat us up. So,
I'll
that's
do
a
what I
plus.
can.
So we'll call you guys like the AI Knights as come in there. But yeah, no, I really appreciate it. And I hope everybody goes and does the summit. And if you don't get to the summit, you definitely need to be in the workshop because, like I said, or the webinar, because I was in there last week and that was amazing. So I appreciate that. And we'll get all of that down there. The links will all be in the bottom. And yeah, so where can they get in touch with you if they want to reach out and connect, whether it is to hire you for your advising or and I know you've already said for the summit, but if they want to get you for the advising or they want to talk to you more or they even want to bring you onto their show, how do they get in touch with you?
So I actually have a bookings page, and you can drop down to me on theaict.com/bookings or LinkedIn. I'm pretty responsive on there.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, this will be where we end it. So, everybody, if you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe and like the video and keep following us. Yeah, make sure they do that. Yeah. And then go follow Chris on LinkedIn. Go hit him up over there and and we will see you guys next time. Bye.